在说话，声音怎么样？
没插紧吧。
Welcome to CGTN's live streaming, and we are now at Nanjing's Memorial Hall for victims of this Nanjing Massacre happened 83 years ago. And after this whole day of events in memorizing these victims' lives perished 83 years ago, we have now attended a vigil event for the victims, and this is a candlelight vigil. So let's go check it out. All right, so we are now in this. Yeah, this is a meditation hall for like it's rather small.
您看呢？现在呢？
You know, to give you a look back on today's memorial ceremony that I just this is my first time to attend this national memorial ceremony with over 80 attendants.
我们班已经很大了。
The siren, people are in mourning, pedestrians, all the people, all the person from in the public places will observe a moment of silence. Actually, it's a minute of silence, and they all paid tribute to the dead. Okay, let's go to this hall, and I believe, I guess it is already. It has already started. Yeah, let's go.
再说。
哎。
再说看看。
是吧？哦。OK。So we can see the scene. 我们现在看到这个场地，那个它这边它里面是那个声音的话，就是刚才您的声音不能收进来。
这个还是这个连接的问题，还是麦克连接的问题。
那这会儿这个我们说话的声音会进是吗？哦，好。好的。哎，好。是因为这样，我们现在是那个双机位在直播，然后一个老师来负责那个咱们大号这边，然后另外一个呢在做那个Facebook 的一个直播，所以说两个人他们可能会存在一些交流，有可能那个声音就进去了。可以退回去了。OK。等一下，还是先拍去。Okay. So if you see this at the ceremony, you can absolutely see like we have like hundreds of people gathering here to memorize the dead. And tonight it's frigid cold, so I put on my scarf.
什么情况？
And is there any problem?
所有声音都没了。
Okay. So just
中文呢？没有。
give me a minute. I'll go to the.
那我把声音拔了，直接用那个手机的。
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
你看一下啊。
各位来宾，晚上，我是大屠杀幸存者nanjing东。83年前，我同他说幸存了。83年后，我同大家3级的你们，请你们放心。现在祖国强大，我们再也不会让悲剧重演，让世界永远复活。
So the person who just spoke is a survivor of this of the Nanjing Massacre 83 years ago. He was lucky to survive from the
看你吧。
mass atrocities conducted by the Japanese invaders. Now let's give you a look back on this history. 83 years ago, Japanese invaders captured Nanjing, which was then China's capital. So now the person who's speaking is a doctor from Nanjing Drum Tower Hospital. And he's a doctor, of course. You know, this year, many doctors have attended the National Memorial Ceremony, especially, you know, due to this year's special circumstances. People have been through this COVID-19 pandemic, and many nurses, medics, doctors were fighting on the front lines of the fight against COVID-19. And many of them have attended this activity.
我是南京创业创新代表武汉，南京是我求学与创新创业的地方，曾经的苦难之城，如今也是充满希望热血。我热爱南京，我们愿意让南京变得更加美好。这是对你的
Now
最
the
好
man
的
who's
告白。
speaking is another representative from the society. He said, you know, contrary to the past, Nanjing is now prosperous and wonderful. So it's also important for us to remember the history and also cherish the peace we have today.
纪念馆青年代表王世杰，历史的接力棒已经传到了我们这一代人的手中，我们会好好努力，
So the girl who's speaking
为
now
祖国的繁荣发展贡献我们的
is
智慧和力量。
a representative from the younger generation, and she said that this task to get our nation stronger has passed on to the younger generation, and she vows to take the task, to take it and to pass it on, to finish this, to finish what our country wants us to do. And now it's a pupil, I believe. Yeah, she's a pupil.
少年强则国强
And。she's
我
reciting
们
a
青少
poem.
年一定要牢记南京大屠杀这段历史，
She's using
牢记
her way
落后就
to
要来打。
express,
我们要珍惜
to do
现
her
在
best to
来之
remember
不易
this
的
history.
幸福生活，好好
You
学
know,
习，
for us,
为中华
for
人崛起
all
而
the
努
people
力
who
读书。
lives in this peaceful life, we probably don't feel this. We probably don't feel the vibe as strong as the person who have witnessed the history. So that's why this national memorial ceremony is held each and every year to let us learn the history, to memorize those who had suffered from the pains of the past. And it's important to carry on to safeguard what we have today. So you see on the scene, some young men and ladies are singing a choir to pay tribute to the dead. If you look at the shape, the pattern that the candles were organized, you can see that there are some of them look like leaves, and they are the leaves of peace. I really hope I can light up a candle myself for those who have suffered from the past too. But I think it's more important to correctly treat the history and to deeply reflect on it. Standing over there, I think she just resembled kind of a national hope for us to look forward, to move on towards a better future, to pass it on to the younger generation, to let more people know this dark history, know that we were weak and we were not strong in the past, but now we are different. Now, some of the monks will be showing up here and to pray for the victims. This is also part of the praying session.
这个是吗？
哎，
挺好的。看起来不多。
后面站着，他等会站着会碰到。
So people from all walks of life have attended this last part of the ceremony. Some of them are nurses, doctors, teachers, students, and people from religious region. If you look at the candle, they have been organized into a shape as the dates of when this Nanjing Massacre happened, which is December the 13th. 83 years ago, Japanese army invaded Nanjing and captured it and carried on 6 weeks of mass slaughter, looting and rape. Over 300,000 unarmed soldiers and civilians were murdered, and over 20,000 women were raped. So speaking of these cruel atrocities, I remembered this morning I talked to one of the survivors of this the Nanjing Massacre. Her name is Jiaxin, and she's 91 years old. You know, in 1937, she's only a child of 8 years old. She and another child of her family survived, while the other 11 family members were murdered by the Japanese army. She said that she saw her family members fell down to the ground one by one under the Japanese guns and knives. It's really heartbreaking to mention of this, but she said it's really important for people to remember the history. And also she said that it's been 75 years since we won the Chinese war, Chinese People's War of resistance against Japanese aggression. But Japanese soldiers never came to, and Japanese, they never came to this Nanjing Memorial Hall for the victims in the Nanjing Massacre, and they never apologized to the victims. So, yeah. Now, as I finally came back to the scene, I can tell you what I felt about this event. After this, in this frigid, cold night, we have attended and see how this has been going on, and people are using this way to light up the candles to remember the dead. Of course, to also it's like a belief for them to drive away the darkness, for the underground souls, for them to, maybe it's just a beautiful belief. And they are using this form to express their wishes to safeguard peace and to appreciate what we have today. So now, as the event getting to the end, you can see that people are slowly stepping out of the scene. With so many candles lit up on the ground. Yeah, so people from all walks of life are putting the candles they were holding to the ground to express their wishes to move on towards a better future. Okay, so this event is almost done, and to give you a wrap-up of my day, it's my first time to have attended this ceremony. I really felt this is something different. As soon as I came to the spot, I realized that I was just so close to the history. And this time, in the morning, I didn't even realize that I can just stand there with hundreds of people to mourn and to pay tribute to the people, to the lives perished 83 years ago. And I've seen those cruel scenes of how Japanese invaders conducted this atrocities to the victims, to the Chinese people. They have this exhibition in the hall. Every 12 seconds, a life perished. They are resemble this to how how many people have lost their lives lost their lives in the 6 weeks of this massacre. So it really felt sad. And as I mentioned the story of Xia Shuqing earlier, I talked to her this morning, and she said that she felt so lonely because she lost her families when she was really young, and I guess she's expressing this to us to give us this strong support that she is there to wait for the Japanese apologize to our victims. And this part of history, as Chinese President Xi Jinping said earlier 3 months ago when he delivered the keynote speech at the 75th anniversary of the victory of Chinese people's war of resistance against the Japanese aggression. He said that this chapter of history is the darkest in China's modern history, that Nanjing Massacre and also Japan's aggression in China is the darkest one. But he also asked the nation to correctly treat the history and deeply reflect on it, and also to be committed to peace. And I think that's the point of this whole event, of this whole national memorial ceremony. And I guess that's the end of our today's live streaming. And for those who have come to CGTN for this live streaming, I hope you had a good time, and I think you might have already seen what happened today, and when we are using our way to pay the tribute to the dead, to the 300,000 victims. And this history is undeniable. War crime is undeniable. So, see you guys.